right, guys, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Black Diamond, and welcome to the Black Diamond Podcast. This is the first official episode that we are live streaming after a little bit of a hiatus, but we're back to it, back to creating content, back to putting out episodes, back to talking about topics that nobody really wants to talk about. So I know you see the title. It's The Soft Guy Era Has Arrived. So we're going to do a deep dive into that, and we're going to be discussing what that means, how it came about, give you some examples, and just really talk about that. So let's see if we can get some more people in here, just give it a little bit of time. And we're going to have a great show. We're going to have a couple guests come on. We're going to deep dive into this. But yeah, what is the soft guy era? And let me share my screen with you guys so you can see this. We can really break this down. All right, the soft guy era. And why are men saying drizzle drizzle? The viral TikTok movement and the meaning explained. Basically, this is like a TikTok trend going on right now where guys are entering their soft guy era. We're going to be discussing that, breaking that down. So let's see what it is. There's a new movement going viral on TikTok, and it's got men entering their soft guy era. The movement is a direct response to perceived sense of entitlement in regards to dating that some women show online, particularly women who see themselves as the ultimate prize and refuse to date broke men who won't take care of them. So how did this movement get started? Is it serious? And what does the term drizzle have to do with it? Here's what you need to know. All right, we're not going to play that video. But basically, a quick synopsis of what this means is it's kind of a play on the dating standards that women have set on men, and men have basically just reversed it onto women, but in a playful way. Of course, if you're a guy who takes it serious, you would know that it would never work. And for example, some of the standards that women set on men, if you haven't been dating so far, are getting their bills taken care of, paying for the first date, paying for their nails, their maintenance, their upkeep. All of that is encompassed now to modern day dating. So the soft guy era is just a funny take that guys have spun the narrative around, and now they want to be taken care of for the date. So it's a funny spin. It's a little parody. It's pretty similar to 2023 when we had the sassy man apocalypse, and everybody was calling all the men sassy. And why were they calling them sassy, right? They were calling men sassy because men started to have standards for the women that they were dating. They were calling them sassy because, they wanted to go 50, which I technically don't agree with. But if you want to go 50-50, be my guest. I don't think it really works. But yeah, so the soft guy here is pretty similar to the sassy man apocalypse, or being sassy in general. All right. Let's see what else we got here. What is a soft guy era? In 2023, a trend started going around on TikTok that saw some women announcing that they were entering their soft girl era. This era was loosely defined by some as a rejection of the girl boss lifestyle, denoted by focus on stress and drama-free living and self-care, with an emphasis on homemaking and finding a man that can provide for them. The era was supported by many women, but also criticized by some as a step backward to more patriarchal norms. So basically, all the women who wanted to be girl bosses decided that, hey, why am I working when there's actually men out here who would actually take care of me? And it's true. There are some men who would take care of you. And they call that the soft girl era. Every girl wants to be in their soft girl and era now. They want to be soft. They want to be taken care of. Of a stress and drama free life. And hey, I'm not mad at it. I'm all for it. I think women should be in stress and drama free life. But it does come at a price. You don't just get it for free. And this is where the soft guy era comes into play. So yeah, with emphasis on homemaking and finding a man that can provide for them. So that's one of the points I want to talk about. If you're going to talk about living in your soft girl era and just really living stress-free, drama-free, having a provider male in your life, then there are going to be some drawbacks. You're going to have to really take a look and some realizations. What value are you going to add to this guy who's providing for you? What value are you adding to his life? The first thing that always come to mind is always cooking and cleaning, right? I mean, I think everyone should be doing that, but I digress, right? So cooking and cleaning is one aspect, but there's many more aspects to adding value to a man's life. And that's going to be different with every man. You're not going to have the same cut answer for every man, but a good start is feminine, beautiful, and inspirational. If you can provide those two things at the base level, then I think you'll find where you can add value to the man that you're dealing with. So yeah, let's keep reading. Let's break this down a little bit more. Recently, TikTokers, Scarface, Lil Goody began posting. I guess they started this whole movement of soft guy era, posting videos parodying the idea of the soft girl era and responding to what they see as entitled women in general who refuse to date men who can't pay their way in life. In their videos, which are largely comedic in nature, they claim they're in their soft guy era, meaning they've decided to stop dating broke women and find women who can provide for and nurture them. Okay. This includes paying all the bills, bringing them to nice restaurants, and doing all the things that men stereotypically need to do for women when they're dating. Interesting. So the whole notion of they decide to stop dating broke women and find women who can provide for and nurture them. There's some truth to that. I mean, I don't necessarily think your girl needs to be well off for her to be dating. I think it's actually more important for you to be well off. But yeah, there's a lot of women who actually go on dates with no money, aren't prepared to pay for anything, and they're used to the notion that a guy has to pay for the first date, and a guy has to take care of everything, take care of her, with no reciprocation of value or energy at the end of the date. And I think a lot of times that's where guys are getting hit the hardest, right? So they're going on these dates, they're spending money, spending $100, $200 on these first dates, just trying to get to know someone. And there's no reciprocation. So I think this is where a lot of that parody comes into play. They're like, we're not taking it anymore. We are going to stop dating broke women, and we want women who can provide for you and nurture you. Of course, no woman's actually going to do that on the first date. And if they do, kudos to you. But I don't suggest it. All right. So yeah, and this includes paying all the bills, bringing them to restaurants. Like for real, no woman is paying all your bills before she gets to know you, before she has some value invested into you already. So this is all just a parody of the whole soft guy era. These three guys, their crowns on. It's just a parody. It's not real. So why is this important? Why is this topic important? Well, this topic is important because it highlights the differences Let me bring the camera back to me. I guess that camera's off. All right. So, why is this topic so important, and why are we talking about this right now? This topic is important because it highlights the differences in what men and women can ultimately say online and it be deemed socially acceptable. Women can ask for pretty much anything, and you'll have other women applauding, like, hey, yeah, set your standards high, set your expectations high. You know, you'll find the man that you want. You go, girl. Right. So, not knowing that, that's not how it works. If you want that type of guy and you have expectations and you have high standards, then you need to work for the guy that you want. You have to add some type of value back. It's not just a manifest and you get it type thing. You actually have to put in the work for what you want. But this goes back to my point that I'm saying that what men and women can say online is going to be totally different. If you're a guy asking for a woman to pay your bills and nurture you before the first date, before she has anything invested into you, then you're going to be seen as delusional, right? Nobody's going to take you serious, right? And that's why we have this movement right now. Nobody's taking these guys serious. Guys actually, most guys know that's not possible. Why it would be nice, it's actually not feasible or possible that most women would provide for us, right? But yeah, women can ask for 6-figure earner, 6 foot tall. You have to be good in bed. You have to be a doctor, charisma. You got to have all sorts of things just to get the opportunity to date them. When men are just looking for someone who's average most times, right? But women can ask for a lot. Their standards are going to be high, and no shame to them. But when men ask for it, it's completely delusional, and it looks like a joke. It is a joke, actually. But you can even go as far as women asking for their bills and rent to be paid, and their nails and their maintenance upkeep for the date to be paid before they even go on the date. So it's just I guess it's just hypocritical, right? Just highlight some hypocrisy between what people can say online and what women can get away with and what men can get away with, and differences between the two. Ooh. So let me show you guys an example of what I'm talking about here. All right. This is pretty funny.
What do you want? You want a rich husband?
Yeah, I like your watch.
Thank you. Thank you. I got a little money, but
50% of it. Better than my ex.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. I love it. I love it. I hope you find a rich husband.
One day.
Let me see.
Tired of working. I need a rich
Looking for a
husband.
rich husband.
Let me know if you find one.
Okay, where are you from? I need Italian.
From money.
Oh,
For money.
I have
Wow. Wow. Welcome to Miami, baby.
Yeah. Welcome to Miami. Better yet, welcome to America. Welcome to the West. This is pretty much sets a standard for what most women have. They want that 6-figure earner. They want somebody who's rich. They're not really marrying for love anymore. And I don't know if you peeped, but one of the girl signs said 50-50 divorce. So yeah, you leave, she gets half. That's pretty much what the dating market looks like for us. But let's go to another clip. This one. Okay, so we have this decently attractive looking woman here, and she posted this, I guess, on Instagram or Twitter. Things I expect from a man: 1, pay all the bills. 2, take care of my kids. 3, cook and clean. 4, let me cheat in peace. 5, buy me a house and car in my name only. 6, STFU and do what I say. 7, massage my body every day. 8, sex me only when I'm in the mood. 9, be faithful to me no matter what I do. 10, marry me. So, like I said, she's average looking, maybe a 6 out of 10. But her standards are on par with somebody who's a 10 out of 10. And that's the main point of contention I have with the modern dating market. Even if I was her man, why would I be taking care of the kids? Why would I be cooking and cleaning? Why would I let her cheat in peace? I don't know if this is even a parody or not, but the fact that, if she can put this out there and get 100,000 views and thousands of likes, it's pretty much going to do it. And yeah, if you check in the comments, yeah, a lame going to do it. Yeah, a lame is going to do it. Buy me a house and car in my name only. Right. Yeah. So, it's just pretty crazy. The standards and expectations. And you don't even get loyalty. You don't even get someone who wants to be faithful to you. And I know this is an exaggeration, right? But if you break this down to like average girl that you would see, even though she's pretty average, but the average girl that men are typically faced with on a daily basis, they're not going to be loyal in a sense where they're still going to want to go on girl trips. They're still going to want to post bikini pics and get attention from other guys on social media. They're still going to want guy friends. So yeah, she may say, let me cheat in peace. But when you have your girl doing those 3 things as well, while you're in a relationship with her, paying all the bills, taking care of her, being her solace, being her rock, being there for her anytime she calls, and she's doing that, you might as well be cheating, right? Massage my body every day. Oh, this is a good one. Sex me only when I'm in the mood. So not only is she not faithful, you only get sexual access to her when she's in the mood. So this pretty much sounds like a dictator. Pretty much sounds like someone who's in charge. So this is the girl boss who may present herself as wanting a soft life. And then there is no give and take. There is no what can I sacrifice to get a type of man who would actually do these things for me? It's just me, 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 me. What do I get? And the person who signs up for this is not going to get much, unfortunately. Let's see if I have any other clips. Age shaming. Oh, let's play this clip.
A male, if you're standing with your man and somebody asks you a question, a male stranger asks you a question, what are you supposed to do?
Well, I'm right there with my man and he's talking to me, the stranger. I look at my man like, is he talking to me? Is he talking to us? Like, in other words, like you address them like, I know he ain't just bypassing my guy and talking to me.
Smart, yeah.
If a male stranger walks up to you and start talking to you, you don't know this man at all.
To the woman.
You are supposed to look at your man. Look at the dude who's talking to you and do like this.
For sure.
That's what you're supposed to do. And I'm gonna be like, hey, player, how can we help you? That's how it's really supposed to go. But a lot of girls don't know it. You ain't supposed to carry on with no man you don't know. If you're standing with your man and somebody.
Facts. He is 100% right. If you and your girl out somewhere and another man approaches your girl to talk to her, she shouldn't say anything. She should just be looking at you the whole time. But of course, you're gonna have a lot of women say, "Hey, I don't know. Oh, I'm gonna answer his question. I'm gonna find out what he needs." Let's play this other clip. I'll share this again. Let's play this other clip, and then we got a guest in the building. Let's refresh. Oh yeah, if you guys haven't already, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, Black Diamond Podcasts. I post content on there, so yeah, follow me.
And another stranger asks you a question, what do you think that you should do?
I would answer that question.
Okay. It's probably why you're single. No, I'm joking. What about you?
You are a big, tall, strong dude. Somebody might just have a simple, easy question, but they might not feel comfortable approaching you because you're intimidating.
Then they need to shut the up with their question.
If somebody comes up to me and goes, "Hey, do you know directions to here?"
That's that problem. It's that unruly nature when they have not been guided by a good father. So you guys want everyone to be happy, but you don't know how to prioritize and look at hierarchy. Who's more important? A guy you never met who's trying to find somewhere. So a guy who's lost, or your man whom you sleep with at night, whom you intend to marry and procreate with. Who's more important? Your man. Who deserves respect more? Your man. So why would you take any opportunity to even accidentally disrespect your man for a guy who means nothing? If you my old lady, you need to be Helen Keller, deaf, dumb, and blind. It don't matter what he had to say. He's Casper to you.
Yo, and shout out to the No Fugazi podcast. Shout out to Marquette. Yeah, they're 100% right. Like, if a guy is too intimidated by me to ask me a question, he doesn't need to come ask me. He can go ask somebody else. Doesn't need to ask my girl that question. And if my girl answers him, my girl should be answering him by looking at me. That's the only feasible answer. There's no other answer. Any other answer besides that is wrong. If you're not just looking at me, then it's wrong. Because who deserves respect at the end of the day? The guy? The random stranger who walked up to you? Or your man who you're supposed to be loyal to and dedicated to? All right. So like I said, this is the first live stream of the podcast. Check me out, guys, on all platforms. Instagram, YouTube, subscribe. If you guys are watching this video, subscribe to the channel. This is a new studio. We're doing this live this time. New studio, new setup, new cameras, new everything. Upgraded from before. We're going to keep pushing out more content. Going to keep creating more content. Planning on going live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So stay tuned for that. And just be on the lookout. In the work. I'm hoping to grow this one day. This is something really big. I'm going to keep putting my thoughts out there. I'm going to keep telling you guys what it is. Maybe give you guys a little story time. Maybe we can get into that, Actually, yeah, let's get into a little story time. So, I encountered a situation like this not too long ago where I'm dating this girl, and whenever we go out, I got everything. I'm fully aware of the situation. I'm fully aware of where we're going. I plan everything, pay for everything. That's just the type of guy I am. I don't want my girl to feel like she needs to go into her bag when she's with me. That being said, let me see if I can get this second camera working. Damn, no? All right, we're gonna have to work on that. All right, that being said, I posed to her a question about what she thinks, what would she do if she came over her man's house and he had dishes in the sink, right? Came over to her man's house and he had dishes in the sink. What would you do? The question varied based on the tiers of level of guy that she was dating. So if she's dating a regular guy and they're just dating, it's not her man. When I say regular guy, I mean just like they're just dating on a regular situation, regular basis. She actually said she would ask him if he was depressed or not. Like, why are you not doing your dishes? There's dishes in the sink. Don't you see them? Are you depressed? So I said, okay, I get it. You're not dating this guy. You have no commitment or value to him, no investment. What if he's your boyfriend? That answer was responded with, I'll do it once. But if it's a repeating occurrence, like if there's constantly dishes in the sink when she comes over, she's going to ask him if he's depressed or sad. And I was kind of taken back by that. I was like, wow, okay, so even your boyfriend doesn't get that. Okay, so I said, well, let's go up one more level. Let's go up another tier. What about your husband? What does your husband get when he got down on one knee, gave you a $10,000, at least minimum $10,000 ring? What does he get when there's dishes in the sink? Oh, I'll wash the dishes sometimes. But I'll definitely be more proactive in washing the dishes. So it just goes to show that there's women see submissiveness in terms of tiers. So someone you're dating gets this level, someone in a relationship will get this level, and then someone who got down on one knee and married them gets another level. But even at that final level, what I realized, it's still comparable to that first level because you're not getting true or full submissiveness. You're getting partial. So it's just interesting to see how women go about dating. And, if anybody else has been in this situation like me, or if anybody else is going through this, it is interesting to see. All right. We should have a guest coming on soon. Now, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of the soft guy era and why it's so important, and why we're talking about this. Talking about this movement. This movement was kind of brought on, especially after the whole cheesecake fiasco, when a woman said it's not okay to bring her to the Cheesecake Factory on the first date. And that was just kind of bizarre because the first date is supposed to be for getting to know each other, right? So it's like it shouldn't even matter where the first date is if you're just truly getting to know that person. If the intent is to truly get to know that person, it shouldn't even matter where it is. But of course, women can say shit like that and get away with it, right? But thankfully, the guy dropped her home. Well, we don't know if the video was fake or not, but the guy dropped her home. So shout out to that guy. And ain't shit wrong with going to the Cheesecake Factory, guys. Ain't shit wrong. But just know if you say some stupid shit like where you don't want to be taken on the first date, you are going to get ridiculed. And just understand you are on the short end of the stick when it comes to dating. Understand that. So let's see. All right. Looks like we got somebody in here. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you? What's your name?
Zenashe.
Hold on 1 second. Say that one more time.
Zenashe.
Zen Ase.
Ashe
Okay.
like sachet.
All right, and how old are you?
I am 53.
Okay, you said 53.
I am, yeah.
Okay, okay. And the topic of what we're talking about right now is the soft guy era for men. Have you heard of that? Do you know what that is?
Yes, I've heard of it.
Okay, you want to tell me what you know about the soft guy era.
Well, there was a soft girl era, and that was
Mhm.
a reaction to the boss babe era where women were told to lean in and act like men and kind of make their way in the world. So then women said, okay, I want to have a softer life. I want to kind of pull back some of the traditional values of kind of being taken care of, being pampered, being spoiled, feeling like a woman, being in my feminine energy rather than being, acting, quote, like a man, being ambitious, being career oriented, being, driven, which these are, again, concepts. So I'm not saying that I agree with that. So then when men started hearing this, they were like, okay, this seems a little spoiled, some men might have thought, and entitled. And so we should have a soft guy era. We should say we're not going to take these traditional values. We're not going to pay for all the dates. We're not going to be the providers and the protectors. The woman needs to be chasing us. The woman needs to be showing us that we are the prize, that we are, being pursued, and that we're going to be pampered and spoiled. And that's basically what it is.
Yeah. That is pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Kind of parody take on the standards that women have set on men when it comes to dating. But just a funny take that men have flipped and reversed onto women about being taken care of and, wanting their bills paid and things like that. Well, let me ask you this. Based on where it all stemmed from, do you think there's an issue with what caused it?
Well, I think there's a few issues. One, whenever you have a huge swing to the left, you're going to have a swing to the right, and then you're going to have kind of a settling point. We've all probably seen that pendulum swing. So that's what the soft girl era was. But I think even in the parody idea of it, the problem that I think a lot of people have when they hear the soft guy era is that it's coming out that men in some ways have had a soft guy era already, because some men were able to go to work, come home, and be pampered when they got home. They could put their feet up, play video games, watch TV, read the newspaper, and their wife or their girlfriend was doing all the work for them at the house.
Right.
And that is they've had their soft guy era already. And now women are saying, we're not going to do that. So it's almost a funny thing to say you want a soft guy era when you've already had it for hundreds of years. And in the sense that we are living in a patriarchy, meaning women have only had rights to do all the things that men do since 1978. So the whole system has been set up for men. to have rights and women to have no rights. And women have had to fight for every single right that they've gotten, to go to work, to be educated, to be able to open bank accounts, to be able to get loans. All of this were things that they couldn't do in mass before 1978. Domestic violence.
All right, no, I get that. I get that.
You know, so it's kind of funny to say we want a soft guy era when you made the world to cater to you already, and now you're wanting to take it even further than it already has been. You know, so it's kind of, it's tongue in cheek, yes, but it also plays on some of men's lack of understanding of history.
Yeah, I think I see what you're saying. I do have some disagreements with that though. So the first one being, because you said a lot. First one being that that men have been living in the soft guy era for a while, being taken care of. Do you think that's the norm? Do you think men being taken care of is actually the norm when it comes to dating and relationships?
I think,
or is that the minority?
There's been research done since 1965 on marriage. Now, dating is kind of a different thing because in dating, a man is trying to prove himself. He's trying to, in a sense, get the prize of the woman to bring home to get married. But there is the thought of once he's crossed that finish line of marriage, he doesn't have to do as much. He can relax and rest. And now it's her job to do more than he was doing. So I do think it is the norm in society that women are expected to sacrifice more for relationships, that women are expected to put their husband, their boyfriend, their kids ahead of themselves. I do think that the norm is statistically that women benefit less from marriage. Married women die 8 years earlier than single women, and they tend to live longer than married men, but that's because women tend to live longer than men anyway. All right. But when you look at all the benefits, most women sacrifice their career because they are the default caregiver. If the kid gets sick, she takes off work 9 times out of 10. If there's an aging parent, she takes care of that aging parent. He gets to have the kids oftentimes without having a full experience of the kids. So what I mean by a soft guy era, it's not that he has to do nothing. It's that his workload is a 40-hour workload, mostly. Go to work, come home. Her workload is a 40-hour workload if she's working, plus everything that goes on in the home. And that is a double job. And so that has been, the research on marriage is that about 60% of marriages are toxic, meaning they're imbalanced. And 40% are healthy and they're equal, where both husband and wife are really benefiting from it at an equal level. That's the research.
Okay, let me cut you off for 1 second. I made a lot of points. The main point I disagree with you on is that men do the 40-hour work week and women do the 40-hour work week and then come home and do more hours than the men. When you can see most times when women do have kids, men have to pay the brunt of the bills. Men have to put in that time to support the woman, either while she's pregnant for 9 months, or most times when she doesn't want to work after she gave birth for 2 years, 3 years, or maybe forever. Men end up working harder to support their wife. And I would even say that up until recently, men were the breadwinners in most households. So the women didn't have to work if she didn't want to. This whole concept of women working and men working is somewhat new. Hasn't been around for even a century yet, but we're getting there. But the main point I'm trying to hit home with is that men have always been the breadwinner. Men have always provided. Men have always been willing to work to provide for their women. So the fact that that women are working and then come home to take care of the kids is somewhat elective. If you choose the right man, there's actually no need for that. You can choose a man who will be a provider for you and will take on the brunt of the bills and provide for you in that way.
Well, let me respond to you in this way. What you're talking about is a term called invisible labor. If a man, let's say that there's a single man and he wants to just pay, he doesn't want to have a romantic interest in a woman. He just wants to hire someone to do all the jobs that we say a good woman or a good wife would do. So for him to hire for that job, he would have to hire a personal assistant to run his calendar, because women are known to make appointments for men to see doctors and dentists and get their dry cleaning done and pick up the groceries and, chauffeur the kids here and there. Personal assistant. He would have to hire a nanny. He would have to hire a cook or get a meal service. He would have to hire a maid. Those are at least 4 jobs that she does consistently if she's, quote, a good wife or a good mother. Now, if he had to pay for all of those services, it would be a lot more than the few extra hours that he's working to pay for, her being in the house. Most men save money on some of the services that they do. Most men who don't cook eat out a lot. Okay. If you have a woman that's cooking for you, she cuts down on your eating out bill. Takeout is much more expensive than meals cooked at home. And generally, meals cooked at home are healthier. So not only is she saving him on the takeout bill, but she's possibly saving him, and this is proven by research, on any doctor's visits, because married men are healthier. Married men live on average 8 to 10 years longer than single men. And one of the reasons why the research shows is because she's saying, go to the doctor, go to the dentist. Here's that has too much salt. I'm making you this other meal. You need to stop drinking so much soda. Hey, let's go to the gym together. I really want us to get healthy together. Let's go for a walk after lunch, after dinner. She's doing that. So
I agree with those points. So I agree with what you're saying. I'm not saying that.
She's a personal trainer. She's all these.
Here's my thing.
But I'm saying the research, this is clear. Anybody can look this up. The research says that if you have a good wife, she is going to save you money over the things that you would normally have to do as a single man. And she's going to save your life in terms of your health outcomes are going to be better. You're going to have less depression, less anxiety. You're going to have less health issues. You're going to live longer. Now, for women, it's the exact opposite.
Yes, I agree. I gotta keep this rolling, but I want to get my point out there before you go into your point even more. What I want to say is that you made emphasis on a good wife. So that is saying that you actually found a good wife, and you actually think that most women are actually or make good wives, which I don't know how much you are in the dating scene, but
very much so. Very active.
You're very active. Yeah. Okay. Well, you would know that from the male experience that's just not true for most women out there. But I do see what you're saying, that if you do find that good wife, she adds value in a way where she's basically supplementing the money you would have spent on the nanny and the other providers that you talked about before, daycare, the cook, right? If you find a woman who has all those traits and is okay and is willing to add value in those ways, what we're seeing nowadays is that most women can't cook. They don't have a cookbook. They've never cooked a dish ever before. They don't want to clean. They want the guy to do 50% of that. But also at the same time, they want a provider. They want their bills taken care of. They want their nails taken care of. So when you say, oh yeah, just find a good wife, it's not that easy. It's not that simple. And we all wish it was that simple, but it just hasn't been for the longest.
I agree with you that times have changed, but I also state the same thing that I'm saying. The research is going up through the present time, and the research hasn't changed. We are talking about married people. So married people, a man feels that he's found a woman that he's going to commit to for life. A woman feels that she's found a man that she's going to commit to for life. In theory, we know divorce happens, but they feel that they found the one. Okay, so we're talking about these married people. Dating is different. In dating, a lot of people don't feel like doing all this stuff. They don't want to do it. Living together is somewhat different as well. But we're talking about the people that actually get married. When they look at the statistical outcomes for married people, even up through last year of 2023, the stats have not changed. The stats on the health outcomes, the marriage helps a man's career. Married men tend to advance faster in their career because they have somebody taking care of a lot of things that they don't have to take care of. All right. So the stats haven't changed. They started, from what I know, they started doing a lot of research on marriage in 1965. From 1965 till 2023, the stats have not changed on the benefits of marriage for men.
I agree on that. But what has changed is the marriage rate. So
Yeah.
I think prior to 1950, at least for the Black community, we were getting married at maybe a 70 to 80% rate.
Yes.
Now it's somewhere in like what the high 20s, low 30s or something like that. It's very
Low
low.
30s is what I saw the last time I saw.
So my question to you is, why do you think that is?
Oh, there's a lot of reasons. I've been married twice.
What do you think is the main reason? You have to say the main culprit to why that
the main
is.
culprit is that I don't believe that women see the value in marriage very often. They don't believe in it. They believe that it is detrimental to them and they don't want to do it.
Did you say you think men think it's detrimental or women think it's detrimental to them?
Women are the ones that get asked, and women are the ones that have to
Right.
say yes. So
Yes.
Women are not looking for a marriage, a husband. A lot of them are looking for someone steady in their life, or they're not looking at all. A lot of people have opted out of the dating scene. They basically say, you know what, if I get an itch that I need to scratch, I will do that. But besides that, I'm going to leave the opposite sex alone. They're too much hassle. They're too much headache.
Okay. So basically, women don't value marriage. But do you think there's a lack of male options with that?
I think that we in America, I can only speak about America, but some of this you see across the world if you do some research. I do think that there's a lack of male options, but I also think that the shift is a mindset shift. Because when I was growing, I told you I was 53 at the very beginning. When I was growing up, everybody I knew was married. Okay. I met my first divorced person probably in high school. All my parents were married, my relatives were married, my friends' parents were married, everybody's married. And getting married it was not even a thought. It was like you go to college, you get a job, you get married, you have kids. That was it. That was what my parents told me I did as a woman. That was my job, to go to college, get educated, get married, have kids, be a good citizen, be a good mother, be a good church going woman. That was it. There was no other option. It was never even talked about that you would do anything else. So you were so conditioned that marriage was your future that you, as soon as you went into college, you were looking for a ring, ring by spring, basically. You were looking for the husband. So it was never even a thought that you wouldn't get married. So I was engaged as I was supposed to be by the end of my senior year, got married right out of college. That's exactly what I was supposed to do, and my parents were pushing me. This guy's really great. You need to marry him, just come on, let's get this. It was kind of like getting somebody to graduation, getting the first car. It was literally like, you do this, you get your diploma, you get your driver's license, you get, you register to vote. You do. It was just a rite of passage. You just do it. When you find this person that's a good enough person, they check all the boxes, you marry them, So women now have their grandmothers and their mothers and their older sisters and their aunties saying, girl, you got a lot of choices. So marriage is a choice, but here's all the other choices: career, travel, friends, whatever. Pick the best one for you. And that's a very different mindset than the one 30 years ago that everybody was telling me. Because nobody was telling me I had a choice. Everybody was saying, get married, get married, get married, get married. Hurry up.
Right. Yeah. Nobody's really pushing marriage anymore. And it's even sad to say, I don't think they're pushing it in the church anymore either. Like I'm a Christian, right? Have been for all my life. And nowadays when I go into my church, it's really filled with just single women, and all the men are just missing. And it's a weird sight to see, because I think previously, when I was much younger, I would see a lot of couples, a lot of people sitting at the front, a lot of couples sitting with their man and husband. But now it's just really like the pastor's preaching to women. And they're not pushing the message of the importance of, I would say, being submissive to your man, and then finding that man, putting in the work to find that man. I think a lot of women nowadays are just coming into the dating marketplace with high standards and high expectations, because that's what everybody tells them to do. They say, oh, don't date a broke guy. Date a guy who has 6 figures. He's 6 feet tall, good in bed, yada, yada, yada. The list goes on, right? But then we don't tell them on the other end of that what type of work needs to go in to find that man. So when he does get you, you're adding value to his life. You make up for all those other bills in his life that he no longer has to pay for. The cook he has, the cleaner, the nanny that he has. You can come in and add value in those ways that are tangible to him. And it's going to vary from man to man, but you're going to come in and you're going to add value. I don't think we really preach those lessons anymore. We just tell women, don't settle for less, just keep going for more. But what does that more want? Sure, I have no problem you asking for that top 10% of men, but what do they want from you? Do you know? So that's my thoughts on it.
I agree with you to a certain extent. I would say that most women are looking at the top 20% of men, not the 10%. And I don't think it's 6 feet, people keep saying 6 foot, 6 figures, 6 pack, all that stuff. That is a very, very small group of men. Very, very, like less than 10%.
It's not.
Okay. In the Black community,
it's not. You'll be surprised.
Okay.
Be surprised.
Well, the stats that I've seen are that 13% of the Black community, single Black men, 13% of Black men, period, make above 6 figures or above. That's the stat I've seen. So if you were to narrow that down to who is got 6 feet, who has a 6 pack, that would be even less than 13%. That's what I'm saying. To have all 3 of those, or even one of those 3, is a very small percentage. So I would say that you expand that out to the men who really have great personalities. And you mentioned good and bad. Yeah, that's definitely a skill set that women look for. The men who are honest, the men who make them feel comfortable and heard. And that's a very high. Women want to be heard. They want to be attended to and feel special. So those men, score really highly if they're also masculine men, because there are some men that are, they call themselves nice guys. Sometimes they're not nice guys, but some of them are not.
I don't believe in nice guys, by the way. I think that's just a guise,
Okay.
I think when you have to be a self-proclaimed nice guy,
Mhm.
you're not really a nice guy. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. I agree with you there. I do agree that, as I already said, I believe that the pendulum has swung. Okay, so women were taught to be very domestic. So they're way over here in the domesticity, the cult of domesticity, all right? And then they were pushed to be all the way over here, just completely career minded and forget about the home. I think we have to come back to the center where you develop a skill set of a lot of things that help you to have a healthy life. All right. And so I do agree that I believe the pendulum did swing for a while way over to the other side. So I agree with that. But I also want to say that the church, to me, and Christianity is pretty much part of YT supremacy. You know, if you look at patriarchy, at the top is a white Christian male. Okay. And everybody else is below that. Everybody else is below that. And so Christianity has been used to bolster that the white Christian male is at the top of the totem pole and everybody else is below that. And until we kind of get away from that and we get to human beings being human beings with the ability, okay, let's go like this.
Wait, hold on. So you think there's a wrong with do you think there's something wrong with the depiction of Jesus Christ?
Of course. Jesus Christ is not white. Jesus Christ was born in the Middle East. The Middle East is Africa. Okay. If you look at the people that live in the Middle East right now, they are not blonde hair, blue eyed. They are, some of them are darker than me.
But what's more important, the depiction or the message?
They're equally important because the depiction is used to subjugate people and make light seem closer to God. So if the depiction wasn't important, they wouldn't have gone through history and gotten rid of a lot of the images of the Black Madonna and the Black mother and child and replaced them with, you know, the pictures that Leonardo da Vinci and other artists painted that were of, you know, some of the Pope's children. They wouldn't have, you know, the image that we see of Jesus is actually a depiction of one of the Pope's children. You can look that up as historical fact. All right. So Jesus did not look like that. If you go to the oldest images of Jesus, he was a very much looked like an Arab person, very much. Okay. So that's a, you know, a whole different thing. But what I was going to say is where I believe we're headed, and I think that this is the best thing that could happen to the entire world. Patriarchy has only really been around in force for about 9,000 years. Before that, you had egalitarianism. Because if you're in a village, you don't have a whole lot of people. So if you look at a movie like Black Panther, that literally is based on history. In villages, men and women did the same jobs. You had male and female warriors. You had male and female medicine men. You had male and female religious leaders. You had male and female hunters, male and female gatherers, male and female artisans. Whatever your gift was, male or female, you went for that gift because they needed the gifts of all of the people to make the village work. It was not the women stay home and the men go hunt. That was not it. It was an egalitarian system. And many times it was a matriarchal system because you knew who the mother was, but you didn't always know who the father was. So a lot of times the property was passed down the woman's line, not the man's line. But then when you had the Europeans and the French and the Spaniard come into Africa, they said, oh, these women have too much power. What is going on? Men, what have you let happen here? You need to put those women in the house. They need to be quiet. They don't need to be educated. They don't need to be hunters. They don't need to be gatherers. They don't need to be artisans. They just need to cook and clean and be quiet.
I think there's some truth to that. Don't you think? I don't think they may have, and I don't know. I don't want to speak too much on this because I don't know the history of all African tribes or even the majority of African tribes. But I do know of the one tribe they made a movie on where there were female hunters and male hunters and fighters as well. I believe they put them in the army. I don't think that's the best military move, honestly, because women need to be protected. They're going to continue the bloodline of your tribe. They're going to be the ones who continue the legacy. So when you put them at the forefront of battle, I mean, it's the same as putting children at the forefront. You're not doing what's best for the military, and you're not doing what's best for the village. You're putting it at harm. And I don't think, I think the reason why we have the military today as it is, where it's like majority men, is because it makes sense. It makes the most sense. You protect the women and you let the men go at the forefront, just the same as you would on the Titanic falling. Would you have the women stay back while the men get on the rafts? No, that wouldn't make sense. Women and children on the rafts first, and the men stay back.
Okay, let's go with, first off, you said something. You said, would you put the children in? Yeah, women and children are not the same thing. All right, and that is another thing that patriarchy has tried to do, is treat women like children. But women most times mother men, and that's a whole nother dynamic. All right.
Wait, say it one more time. Women are what?
Women many times mother men. When you look at the way marriages have come up, a lot of times you see the woman playing the role of a grown man's mother. She's putting his clothes out. She's ironing his clothes. She's cooking for him, cleaning for him. She's doing everything for him, almost as if he is an incapable child. And sometimes the children in that family are more independent than the husband is. And often, especially in the older couples, you'll see if that wife happens to die first, that husband is often unable to take care of himself. He doesn't know how to run the dishwasher. He doesn't know how to wash clothes. He doesn't know how to grocery shop. He doesn't know how to cook. He does not know how to adult because he has been mothered his entire life. He went from his mom and dad's house to his wife and his house, and she took on the role of his mother.
So wait, are you saying that I see that point sometimes, but I mainly see that when the child or the man is raised from a single mother household. I rarely see men who are not ready for the world when they have their father in their life.
No.
That's where I would disagree with you. And I think there's stats to even back this up, where I think most of the criminals who are incarcerated actually come from single mother households. And when you have
that's very easy to speak to. Okay, men are 14%.
But wait, let me finish my point.
Okay,
and when you have a single father household, that child produced from that single father household gets the same outcomes as if he was produced from a mother and father household. So I don't know. I think you're wrong there. I think that when you do have your father in your life, you are ready for it. You are going to be more prepared for the world as a man.
Okay, so let me say this. All right. The stats on criminality. Men are 14% more likely than women to go to jail, prison. All right. The stats on single women households, those juveniles, we're talking about juveniles only, are 17% more likely. That's a 3% difference. So we're talking about a 3% difference. Okay. And people are making a big deal about a 3% difference in juveniles. Some of that has been linked to the fact that this prefrontal lobe has not been developed, and there is not an active present man, their father, who abandoned the family, to tell that boy how to deal with his hormones, his impulsivity, because this prefrontal lobe up here is the one that says, wait a minute, stop, think. It's called the executive. It's the one where you actually can make rational decisions. This doesn't develop in most people fully until 25. So that means if you're talking about a 13 to 19-year-old boy, he does not have full access to this. He has raging hormones. He has emotions he hasn't been taught to deal with most times because our society doesn't teach men to deal with their emotions very well, historically and presently. And he also has a lack of prefrontal lobe development. Those are things that a man can help better with because he experiences testosterone at the level that that boy is experiencing it. A woman doesn't have that level of testosterone. She doesn't have that level of impulsivity. Okay. So we're talking about a 3% difference. And yeah, it's directly related to the fact that there is not a man to say, oh, let me grab this guy and put him in something, you know, whether it's a sport, whether it's some mentoring, whether it's me talking to him one-on-one, whether it's me getting him up under a car to learn how to fix it. I need to channel all of this stuff inside of him. So I agree with you on that, but that has nothing to do with the fact that it's a single parent household in itself. It has to do with the chemical makeup of the boy and the fact that the father abandoned that boy to deal with all of this stuff on his own.
All right, wait. I think we got a little bit off track. We were talking about how men are better suited for war rather than women. That's where we started from.
Okay, so
and I said that at the forefront of like the Titanic, for example, you would have the women and the children go on the rafts first, and then the men stay back. And you know, if there is room, some men would go on. So why is it that you think that it's a better move to put the women at the forefront of a military rather than just the men?
I think that what you're saying is a deflection, because what I said was getting back to an egalitarian system would be the best thing for everybody. If we had a system where everyone rose and did what their gifts told them to do, whatever that was, and it had nothing to do with gender, all right, that would be the system that existed before patriarchy, where women who were equipped for battle, and these might be women who did not want to have children because those have always existed, all right, went into battle. So we're talking about gifts and skills and abilities and propensities. So I'm not saying that every woman should be on the battlefield. I'm not saying every man should be on the battlefield. I'm saying the people who have those propensities and those desires should rise and use those skills and abilities. And it should have nothing to do with gender. And that is the way that it was before patriarchy came along. People, and going back to, let me go back to here for a minute. There's a saying that we still say today, it takes a village to raise a child. The slave plantation did this. Sent the mothers out into
hold on, but before we go into slavery, I have to
the grandmothers kept the kids. In the village, they did the same thing. The elders a lot of times would keep the kids. All right. Now I'm not saying that all elders are going to want to do that, but what I'm saying is there was a system to how the women were able to go to war. All right. There was a system.
Okay.
The system was that
yes, there's a system, but is it the right system is the answer? Is it the right system? Because there's clear.
It was the right system because what you're talking about in patriarchy is a system that tells men that they're superior, women that they're inferior. And it equates women with children, as you just did a few minutes ago, when women tend to have more skills than men. In general,
that's not women. Women don't have women. No, wait, hold. Time out.
I just told you that a woman that comes into a man's life.
Time out. Bro, we gotta break this down. Okay. So that system of the the tribes. I don't want to say African tribe, but the tribes picking roles not based off gender is not the smartest decision, because there's clear biological differences between men and women. If you have an army, if you have 100 men going up against an army of 50 men and 50 women, the chances are the army with 100 men will win. And there's just clear biological differences. Men have higher muscle mass. Men have a higher bone density. Men are stronger. One man can easily take on 3 to 4 women on his own if he's equipped enough. So the fact that they did it does not make it right. It doesn't make it fair. I would even say that it actually makes it kind of makes it stupid. Why would you want to do that when you know that there's clear biological differences? Even if you're lacking in resources as a growing tribe, that's not the best move.
You are basing everything. Now, I'm not going to
wait, hold on. Let me finish. Even if you're lacking in resources, that's not the best move as a growing tribe.
I'm going to give you 100% of what you just said. Men are stronger. Men have more bone density. All right. And what was the other thing you said? Men are what? You said something else?
Taller, stronger, higher bone density, higher muscle mass.
So I'm going to give you all of that. All right. Men are also more impulsive, more reckless. Men tend to get more emotional and act rashly. Okay. So now, if you have let's say you have an army, 50% women, 50% men, and you actually get.
Did you say men are more emotional and less rational?
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
No way. No way. No way. No way.
You're thinking emotional means crying.
There's no way.
Emotional means any emotion. Many men, when they get emotional, they're breaking things, they're screaming, we would not have the incidence of violence in our society if men were able to deal with their emotions appropriately. If they were able to talk things out, if they were able to handle rejection, if they were able to not think that they have to prove, if somebody steps on my toe, I have to kill them. So
all right, so let me just ask you this question, and this will tell me all I need to know. Do you think the Army, the U.S. Army, I don't even want to say the U.S. Army. Well, okay. Do you think the Army in general would be better off if we had 50% women?
I think that's a deflection. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about.
No, I'm asking you based on what you believe and your thought process on the tribes in the past. Do you think that this army would be better off if it consisted of 50% women?
At this point, right now, no, because the army.
So then that
patriarchy
that defeats your whole argument,
huh?
That defeats your whole previous argument.
No, it doesn't defeat.
They made a poor decision.
You're not understanding my argument. My argument is this: we would be better if we had an egalitarian system. Right now, we are under a system of patriarchy. In a system of patriarchy, many men do not respect women. So if we had an army of 50% women and 50% men, at least 30 to 40% of those men would not respect the 50% of those women. They would physically attack them. They would try to rape them. They would try to sexually assault them. They would not listen to them. So no, it would defeat the purpose. We would have to change the mindsets of people to where they actually see human beings in women, strategic leaders in women, and not just sexual objects. So until we get to that point, no, it would not help to try to even the playing field. It takes more than just putting more women on a certain job. It takes a mindset change. And that is what I'm talking about. You have to see women as able to think, able to strategize, able to be a leader with you, able to be an equal with you in partnership if they have the skill set, if they have proven to have the skill set. But many times men will not. You could take an average man, let's say in a bar, and he could look at an Olympian and say, I could beat her if we were both on the field together. And he has never trained for that.
All right, wait, hold on. Let me get my point out. All right. So in today's current society, women have the same rights as men. All right. But men cannot view women as equals. We can't. If we do that, then you give up the fact that we have to protect women. You give up the fact that we have to provide for women. You give up these basic biological needs that men have wired into them to want to protect and provide for the women in their life. And I think this whole egalitarian system, while it does sound nice, it does sound very, very beautiful to have a society where everybody's just equal and there's butterflies and puppies everywhere, but it's just not feasible. Other men would take advantage of that, and other men would come in and destroy this fabric of society that we have now. We have to view women to some degree as something, as a little bit inferior, because we do have to protect you and we do want to provide for you.
Let's stop.
All right, you can have equal rights. You can have equal rights, and I'm not saying that you're lesser than, but men have to view you as lesser than to want to protect you and provide for you.
Let's go with that for a second. What is the greatest threat to women?
Say that one more time.
What is the greatest threat to women?
What is a bigger threat? What is the biggest threat to women?
The greatest. What is the greatest threat that women face?
In the current society that men built?
In the current society we live in.
In the current society that men built, in the current modern day society that men built for women, the biggest threat would be other men. Yes.
That's right.
Because we have modernized the world. No, wait, hold on. Time out. Men have modernized the world. We industrialized it. We colonized it. We modernized it so that women can live in their soft girl era, so they can have a nice home to come to, so they can have a nice comfy job to work at and come back home to. We modernized the world to that degree. If we didn't do that, the biggest threat would probably be an animal. All right. Most animals can take out most women. That's just the reality of it. And if it wasn't for men wanting to protect and provide for women, the animals would have took out the women. Most men, you need men to protect and provide for women, because without them, women wouldn't have survived on their own. They wouldn't have been able to industrialize and modernize the world as we see it today.
Okay, let me say this. You should Google matriarchal societies. There are places in the world today where there are no men. It's societies of women. And those women do everything that needs to be done in that society. Every job that needs to be filled, they fill it. There are women right now filling almost every job that you could think of. And without women, most men, right now there was an article that came out that said that there's an unemployment crisis because so many women have opted out of the dating scene, that men are not motivated to go get jobs and buy homes and do the things that men did in the past, because in the past, men thought, if I have all of these X's checked, I'm going to get a woman. But because that's no longer a given, a guarantee, there's a huge percentage of young men saying, I don't really need a college degree. I don't really need to get, more than this basic little job that I have. I don't really need a car. I don't really need a home. I can just go to work, come home, play video games, and watch, my sexy time videos. So a lot of what has happened in society has been because men were motivated by women to do the things they did. And also women were taking care of all of the other things that needed to be done so that men could focus on those things. And also men took credit for many things that women did, because we have movies coming out like Hidden Figures. We have, Women's History Month, where we find out that this woman invented this and this woman invented that and this woman invented this. And they didn't get credit until after they were dead, because some man put his name on it, or she couldn't get it published, or she couldn't get it funding for it till her husband signed off on it, or her brother or her cousin or whoever man. So there's a lot of things where women pretended to be men. They took on names. There are many, many writers. I'm a writer that literally put their initials on things because they couldn't get published as a woman. And men.
So I've I don't want it to come off as I'm saying that women don't add value. Of course, they add value, and we need women. My whole point I'm trying to drive home is that we need women to the point that we do need to protect and provide for them. So to that degree, we shouldn't see them as equals, because when you see them as equals, then you have men who wanted when the ship is sinking, you'll have men who want to jump on the rafts first with the children. And that's not the type of society we can live in. But let's wrap this up. Do you have any questions for me about the podcast or anything you want to ask me?
Thank you for having me on. It's been an interesting discussion. If you want to tell me anything about, your podcast that you think that I should know, I mean, I'm definitely here to listen and, to.
Yeah, sure. So this is a male self-improvement podcast, right? Where we break down financial topics, fitness topics, dating topics, and that all ties into getting a women's perspective on how important is that when it comes to dating, right? So today's topic was about the soft guy era. And, basically we just went over standards and what men and women can say online and how that is basically either glorified or seen as delusional. Like a woman could say she wants a man who's 6 foot, is a six-figure earner, and so on and so on and so on. But if a guy says, hey, yeah, I want my bills paid for and I want my haircut paid for before the date, he's going to be seen as delusional online. So yeah, we talk about different topics like that, and we get everybody's opinion. We get ladies' opinions. We got your opinion, which was great. We had a good conversation about Christianity and just men and women, and if they're truly equal, and if they should be seen as equal. We went into that a little bit. So it was a great conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have anything you want to shout out, you want to shout out your platform or what you do, go right on.
I'm Zen Ashe. That's Zen. That's first name. ASE, second name. I'm a best-selling author. I'm a podcaster. I do all kind of workshops around the Houston area. And I do have a podcast that's about self-development, self-empowerment, self-care, and the arts. So it has a lot of, poetry, comedy, music shows on it, as well as other topics, kind of A to Z self-development. Mine is more about mindset and things that you can do to improve your mindset and elevate your life, because I feel like we're all looking for peace and fulfillment. And it's kind of about how do you get to that, without losing your head. So that's kind of my platform. My podcast is called Zenergy, Zennurgy. It's top 10% globally. So I have subscribers in about 53 cities in 35 countries right now. So that's kind of what I do.
Great. Well, if you guys haven't already, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more content like this. We're going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from here on out. We're not stopping. We're going forward. And yeah, check out Zen's platform too. And thank you guys for tuning in. We are out of here.